Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. Are you ready?
Ready for what?
To level up.
Okay, girl, let's get started. Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Level Up with Raman and Alysha.
This episode is very special because it is our last episode of our Girl Boss Month. Boo! I don't know, yay! But
we're sad, but we're happy.
If you have not been keeping up, please do. But we have been dedicating the month of April to Girl Boss Month, and we have been having guest women on our podcast that have been able to talk about their life experiences, work, various topics, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, so enlightful. And you know what? I hope it's brought you guys just as much as Raman and I.
Yeah.
Experience, advice, and really remembering to appreciate the women in our life as well.
Yeah, and today we are sad, but also happy that we got the opportunity to do this. We have our last guest of the month of our Girl Boss Month, which is Kiran.
Hi,
and
Kiran.
Not the same Kiran,
Hello.
but a different Kiran.
Yes. Oh, yes. So, funny story. Raman has two Karens that are very close to her in her life. So, this one is Karen cousin.
And one is Sister Karen.
Sister Karen. So, we welcome cousin Karen.
Hello.
Hi, Karen. Thank you for being on our podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. I know you're very nervous, as all of our guests are. But just to kind of give everybody a little heads up on who Karen is the cousin that you call your cousin all your life, but you're not related by blood.
Exactly. Especially if you're in the South Asian community.
We've all seen that meme. So Karen is that cousin to me. We've known each other since we were in diapers, and Alysha eventually got to know her.
Yes.
And here she is today. So hi, Karen. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So again, I'm Kiran, Raman's cousin, quote unquote cousin. Also recently married, and I'm a professional realtor. Also living in the GTA, chilling, having fun during COVID. Well, staying at home.
I like that you said having fun in COVID, because most people are so just the only thing that can they can think about is the negativity about it, but not just I'm having fun in
there's
COVID.
So much positivity. It's we're taking a moment to breathe and not be so stressed out all the time. But I know, Karen, you've been super busy by watching your social media with all these amazing showings. So along with the pandemic, I guess it's a seller's market right now, and people are selling like crazy. And you've gotten some really nice listings, like holy.
I know. I love looking at her Instagram stories for all the houses.
We'll tag her Instagram below.
Thank you. I actually went on a bunch of showings today, and had a long day of showings, and honestly, clients left a couple of places, so that was nice. And watch out. I got some more videos to post. So
nice. That's exciting. So Karen, tell us why you went into becoming a realtor to begin with, and then maybe you can tell us how you're handling it in the pandemic.
And I know Karen, realtor wasn't Karen's first choice of what she was going to be.
Yeah, it wasn't. So growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher. So I went to school to become a teacher, and obviously did all that process. Midway through, I was actually also working at a real estate firm as a front desk administrator. And in that whole time, I was thinking, well, I'll be a teacher part-time in the summer. I'll do real estate, because obviously as a teacher, you get enough time off, so you can do these things. And long story short, I did not end up becoming a teacher. I decided to take real estate full on, and I'm happy with that decision that I did do that, because it's given me a lot of time, I've met a lot of people in the process. Honestly, it's a learning thing. Like every day you're learning something new. The market's changing, so obviously you have to be up to date with your education, just knowledge and everything. So I mean, just in general, it's fun. Like, again, I'm married, husband, he helps me with this. So when I say he helps me with this, he's actually my part-time assistant, I would say. And
yeah,
and he's got the perfect personality for it too.
Yeah. And honestly, it's fun. Like we take advantage of it. Like when I say take advantage of it, personally, I'm taking advantage of it, but he loves it. He enjoys it. We love the company together, especially now since we've been married. It kind of gives us a time together as well. And obviously it's COVID, so we are still technically in real estate. So it gives us a time, like an outing in a sense. And we get to go see some places with our clients, and obviously it helps out, especially in downtown where you need somebody to drive you around, because the condos are like, there's no visitor parking. So that helps.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're definitely a good realtor. You have a lot of backbone experience with it. Fun fact about Karen, this realtor office that she works at, this was her first job.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't know. You will say your first job was at some pizza place or something, but this was like Karen's first job.
Yeah.
We were like,
I was 16 when I got the job. Yeah.
Karen was like 16 years old. She got this job to work at a realtor office, and she is like still there.
Yeah.
So she's like one of those people that you see like 15-year veteran.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was almost inevitable that you were going to go into real estate at that point. Would you not agree?
Yeah, I do agree.
You're super knowledgeable on the topic for sure, because I know we've had discussions on it, and I love your approach to it because you're all about everyone being informed about it. If you're making the decision to go into that career, and you're talking about like which agency you're going with and how to develop. And I didn't even know that there was like an agency in Canada that helps you, like young realtors, start off. And I would have never known that without Karen.
Is it Trepp?
No, it's Keller Williams.
Keller
right?
Williams is a brokerage. Yeah, they're pro education, but there's a lot of other brokerages that also do education. It's just there's some that are focused strictly on, like, they're known, like Keller Williams known to be to focus more on the education side of it.
Yeah, to get them really trained and know everything, right? Before they put them out in the complete public eye.
Yeah.
And I think that was phenomenal when she told me that. So I was like, wow, you would have never known that, right?
No, it's true. And that's what, sorry to cut you off, but that's where, like, that's the one thing that I'm pro on 100% is that even like when clients are purchasing or selling, I'm pro on them knowing everything so they can make the informed decision, because I don't think it's fair for anybody, actually, like anybody that's even getting into the career or selling, buying, whatever it may be. I feel like you would want somebody to treat you the way that, for example, you would treat them. So like, that's my motto is I would treat my clients the way that I want somebody to treat me. So like, there's people out there that will send you mass emails all the time, and I'm not like that because I personally hate that, right? So I do not like mass emails being sent to me, because I'll go through my email and delete them, right? Like getting Forever 21 sending me emails every week, right? I don't want to. I don't.
Forever 21's not even in Canada anymore.
Yeah, I know. I've still seen them though.
They're trying.
I know they're trying to come back.
Right?
Appreciate the hustle.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you on that approach that you're taking. So, that's phenomenal. And
I was gonna say, what is your advice to a first time home buyer?
Yeah.
Because me being somebody, Alysha being someone who has bought a home already, me being somebody who has not and does not have kind of any knowledge of, all I know is what kind of home I want.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. We all have the Pinterest dream boards. We all save those Instagram pictures, and everybody wants that dream home, but then you go out and then you realize that not every home is going to look like that.
No,
right?
Exactly.
So what kind of expectations do you receive from first-time home buyers, and what is your advice to first-time home buyers?
See, exactly what you said is everybody wants that Pinterest image of their home. They pictured this perfect home with all the upgrades, all the finishes, everything to the T's and the I's dotted, like whatnot, right? But the thing is, it comes down to reality. And that's what I always, again, informing all the clients. It's coming down to reality. You're purchasing a home that's technically resale, right? Unless you have the deposit to purchase something that's brand new. But another thing that I do highly advise is go to the bank and get a pre-approval, because that will actually tell you what you can afford, right? Without that, you can think you can own a $2 million property, which you may not be able to, or you may be, right? If you have the money.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, at the same time, the key thing is to go get a pre-approval, go to the bank, figure out the numbers. And then from there, look at what you're able to afford based on those numbers, right? Maybe it's a condo to start off. And usually that is where first-time homebuyers start off at, is a condo, or they'll start off with a townhouse, right? But some people, obviously, when they're first-time homebuyers, they're like, no, I want that detached house with like the marble this and upgraded. Right now the grays are in, so like gray everything. Like it's interesting, but you do have to give them, in a sense, a reality check, but right. So
it's Alysha.
Yeah, okay, so right now
we're laughing because
I'm going through that right now.
She's like, I want all gray marble everything.
I want white kitchen. I want the waffle ceiling.
To be fair, you're not a first-time home buyer now.
No, so. I'm not. But my expectations are super high. And as I'm hearing you say this, you're right, though. Like, you know, you do need to be a little realistic. And I think a lot of people don't realize, like me in the beginning, that you can also have the foundation of a home and be willing to, like, if you have the money to do so, to do some of these upgrades yourself, and they don't cost a lot.
No, they don't. Yeah.
And you could do the waffle ceiling. You can put in the kitchen. A kitchen, I've noticed, a really nice one will go from 27,000 to, like, you can go anywhere up to 75,000.
It really depends on what needs to be even done. Sometimes, like, the kitchen cabinets are fine, and the countertop needs to be changed, and the fixture, like the faucets, needs to be changed, and it's like and the appliance, let's say, right, going from like a white kitchen to stainless steel, right?
That's like 20 to 30
not
grand
even
tops.
right, like as long as the kitchen cabinets are good, right? So it really depends on what needs to be done. And that's the other thing. Sometimes people are scared to do the renovation, so that's why they want the property that's fully renovated, but then they don't think that, hey, who did the work? What was their craftsmanship like? Is it actually done to code? Like, there's all these questions that come into play. And I mean, you rather, like, personally, if it was me, I would buy a house that needs some work, put in that money. And you know what? Long run, when you're purchasing a property that's fully done versus something that's not done, you're going to save money in the renos too, right? So it really in the end depends on the property as well, right? Because if you're going to buy a $2 million property and it's fully done versus something that's not like that, I mean, like, again, it's going to depend on the property in the end. Really hard to say. Renovations nowadays, I've been noticing that people will pay the extra bucks for something that's already done. And if you're trying to save money, I wouldn't really recommend that.
So do you think it's a generational thing when you notice that? Do you feel like it's the baby boomers, or is it our generation, or is it like the younger generation?
It's everybody, because everybody wants the move-in ready, right? Like, it really
the convenience.
they want the convenience, right? But the thing is, people are scared to do the renos. They're just like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to put in that work. That means I can't move in right away. Then there's all these different questions that they have to ask. I mean, truthfully, if you're living at home right now and you're purchasing a property for the first time, I would say go with something that needs something, like, you need to fix it up a little bit, put in your flavor, your twist and touches to it. You're good, right? Especially because
I totally agree.
Especially because you have somewhere to live. But I mean, I get it for some people that it's hard. Like, they have to move from one place to the other without the place to live. They can't afford the extra expenses, right? But then it really is situational. It's hard to say sometimes. But I mean, again, I would say, hey, consider putting in the extra money. When I say extra, like, consider the renovation. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, like, I know that I just don't have the patience for it at this time in my life.
I'm guilty of this too. I've said it myself. And you know what? I've known people that, like, this lady bought, I remember at my last job, this lady she lived downtown. She bought a house in downtown as well, but she was like, the house is a big fixer-upper. She was pregnant.
Oh, damn.
Renovating a whole place, like, to the point where it's like you're choosing your kitchen cabinets, the little, like, handles, every little accessory that went on to it. And I'm like, while pregnant. And I was like, I remember telling her that I could never do that. Like, I don't think I could ever, because there are big renovations and then there are small renovations, right? So, like, hers just sounded like a really big renovation. And I was like, I just don't think I would want to buy a house that has so many renovations needed. But like what Kiran said, now I'm kind of like shifting my thinking from that.
Because the long term.
Because you would be surprised
little.
much people are willing to like, okay, how little renovations cost. I think people overestimate renovations by a whole lot. Two, you'd be surprised how much people are willing to pay more than the cost of the renovation just to have a ready
and I talk about this all the time because my husband is all about let's buy the older home in the city we want and let's flip it, as opposed to I'm like, no, let's just get it already done, because I stress. I'm a very stressful individual. I like things already done. And when I'm someone who moves in, I want to unpack the boxes in that week. I can't live in boxes and disorientate. I just can't do it. So he's all like, no, it's fine. We can do this room by room. And I'm like, oh my God, no.
Room by room.
No. So, but some people are for it, and I think kudos to you, because in the long term your money turns around, you make double the value, which is amazing. And some people can, and like if you look at the nicer areas too, when you're looking at Toronto, if you want to live in Toronto, you want to live in Old Oakville, Old Burlington, Old Etobicoke. I don't know anything about the East End, sorry Karen. But when you like want to live in those areas, the houses are like built in 1958. You have no choice but to break it down and rebuild.
Not even break it down, but even if you want to like renovate the kitchen or create, because a lot of these old houses, I noticed, they're not built to open concept, right? They're built like kind of like the one room, living room, 3 room. But now these newer houses, it's all about open concept.
I love open concept.
Yeah, a lot of people nowadays are enjoying the open concept. Like one of my clients, like today, for example, they're all about the open concept. Like the kitchen needs to look into the living room / dining room and feel open and cozy where like everybody can hang out, right? So the trends are changing, and the trends will always change, right? So it's going to depend. Like even as we get older, it's going to change again, right? And what our preferences are going to change, because then it's going to come down to entertaining, and our entertainment's going to be like, okay, well, I need a separate area for dining, so like my guests can come here, and then I need a separate space for family room / living room, because I have kids now and they're making a mess. Like it's just a whole different layout that changes, kind of thing, like as you get older. Right now, since we're friends, we're all hanging out, we just want people over, well, I mean during non-COVID time, right? So like you want that big open space where everyone can just chill and like have fun and host. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly the mindset that my current clients are in, right? And it would be nice, like there are like properties that are coming up like that, so it's really nice. But the only thing is now, since everybody wants it and it's the current market where the sellers are winning, right? So guess what? I'm sorry, on the buying side, like it kind of sucks right now, because the prices are going up and up and up, and hopefully they're going to steady out, but obviously we'll have to see. All of us realtors were shocked at the beginning of COVID. We didn't know what would happen. We thought things were going to slow down, but it just turned complete. It was like the complete opposite.
It turned into this like competitive Hunger Games ground.
Did you see? I love what Raza and Mocha said. They said it perfectly. They said it's not a seller's or it's not real estate anymore. It's auctioning. And I'm like, absolutely. That's exactly what it feels like. And it's crazy. But I have a question for you, Karen. Being a woman in the realtor game, now I know I see a lot more females out there, and like kudos to them, but it used to be a huge male influence. So how is that now? Do you find that a lot still? And you're young still, so how do you find that?
Honestly, I know, like when I first got into real estate, you can ask my husband, you can ask Raman, you can ask anybody. I refuse to put my picture anywhere. And I'm not, like, the reason why was because you had people call you for wrong intentions, right? So and I've heard horror stories where there was vacant properties where the lady's picture was on her board, and they would call them and be like, hey, I want to come and see this property, and go ahead and steal their like iPad or something, right? So there was horror stories. So I mean, that was back in the days when it was a little bit more male dominated. Now it is getting there where more females are coming into the picture, and it's cooling down in that sense. Like I don't hear those stories anymore, which I'm really happy about. The fact that we have social media, that helps as well. We partner up now as well right? So there's all these,
exactly,
you're never alone. And there's like, obviously there's these things that everybody has to think about, because truthfully, as a realtor, you're not meeting somebody that you know sometimes, right? It is some stranger, quote unquote. And usually people say stranger danger, right? So you kind of have to, they always advise, like, for example, the brokerage, they'll be like, meet the client at the office first, especially because it's your first time. Do not meet them at the at the property, because again, it's your safety. But this is not only advisable for women, it's advisable for everybody, right? Because anything can happen to anybody. And so again, there's ways to deal with certain things. But again, for the females that are coming into real estate, don't be scared, right? It's not something to be scared about. It's just, you have to know who you're dealing with, right? And honestly, like, as a female, like, I've had experiences where my gut told me, do not go see this person, do not take them to the property. And you know what? One time in particular, I wish I didn't go, because I remember it was a condo unit, and I was in the elevator and I did not feel comfortable. But you know what? I was already there and I had to deal with it. But the thing is, when I say that, it wasn't like anything negative. It's just, the vibes that you get from people, right? I did not feel great about that. So I stood in the middle of the doorway to walk out of the unit in case something was wrong, right? But the thing is, obviously everybody has these vibes. So luckily nothing was wrong. Nothing happened. But I mean, like, these are things that people don't talk about. But I'm, again, like I said, I'm the person that will tell you everything and anything, because I don't feel like it's right to not tell people this, right? So but
you're bringing awareness throughout,
right? And things, sometimes people don't hear about these stories unless they've spoken to somebody that they know, right? Or whatever.
Exactly.
And again, but the thing is, it's not scary. So don't think this is like a scary story or something.
No, it's just to be aware and be aware of your surroundings, because especially more than ever now, the pandemic has brought out a lot of people who are not in the right state of mind. So I definitely agree with you on that point.
Well, honestly, Karen's like one of the best realtors I know.
Yeah, definitely. Hands down. You're very, experienced
and knowledgeable, and kind of have like the GTA, and we will leave Karen's link to her Instagram
I love that you're like also willing to share your knowledge, which is amazing. Because it's definitely like an entrepreneurship, and a lot of people aren't always willing to share their ingredients, and that's amazing.
Absolutely.
But you talked about this.
Sorry.
No,
like I said, I'm all pro, like, always informing, right? Like, always about pros and cons. Like, I've always told my clients, like, if you already purchased your property and you want some information, call me and I'll give it to you. Like, I'm not those type of people that are like, hey, you're not working with me anymore, bye-bye, right? Like, no, right? Like,
never burn your bridges.
It's not even that. It's just like, again, like, you want it, like, I would personally want that information, right? So it's only fair for me to be able to provide that to somebody that also wants it, right? If I would want it. So it's equal grounds in a sense, right? So again, like I said, that's how I see it. If I would want something, or if I wouldn't want something, I would do the same thing for my clients, because and that's the way that I go into the property too. Like, when I'm showing it to them, would I buy this house? And if I wouldn't buy it, I will tell you why I wouldn't buy it. But in the end, it's obviously my client's decision what they do. Right?
Absolutely.
We like to call Karen. Okay, guys, this is a little fun fact. So in our group of friends, like all our life, we always call Karen the mother of the group, because she is so responsible, even when she's drunk. I don't know how she does it, because I can't.
She worries about cleaning, making sure everyone's eating.
Everyone's eating. They're drinking responsibly, even though she's drunk. So I mean, she has that caring personality, definitely, for everybody. Karen, you did mention something that you're a newly wedded wife.
Tell us about this hubby of yours.
We know it was not an easy journey, and it came with some roller coasters and some like up and down hills,
like all relationships do in the beginning.
But
joining two families are always hard on everybody. I want to meet a couple that tells me it was easy from the get-go.
I know, right?
Tell me where.
I wonder too, actually.
Because I don't believe that.
But
yeah, I don't know a single person. In the beginning, it's always tough on everyone. You're planning a huge production between the two families that need to represent both sides.
Just joining of two families because they,
opinions are different,
traditions. I know with you, Karen, it wasn't like the most easiest journey, but like, why don't you, I mean, you came out of it amazing. And I think you came out of it as a conqueror. So, which is why, we do want you to share your story.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
So, I mean, we've known each other since high school, and we are two different backgrounds. I'm Punjabi, he's Bengali. So that's two different everything. And honestly, with us, like Raf knows me as well, and I'm always about getting to know the person for at least a year. Right. And I've said this to Raman many times too. I'm like, hey, get to know the person for at least a year before you guys decide to make a next move.
I completely agree.
Because you get to learn about them and whatnot. And with me and Raf, for example, it was tough because there was two different everything. And we had to think of it through for a very long time and look at the pros and cons and see if our families would be good and if we would be good with our families. And you know what? For us, we knew it was it. Like, this is what we really, really wanted to do. And we were down to take all the punches that came with it. Aww. And you know what? I'm happy that we did go through and made it work.
Me too.
You
guys are a great couple.
And
yeah, they're like mom and dad.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, like I said, like, I'm so happy that we went through with this and everything worked out. We've known each other since high school. Obviously there's ups and downs for everything. With our situation was a little bit different. But I mean,
especially in our Punjabi community, right? Yeah. Like, it's some communities and some cultures do have a lot more of like the blended marriages or like stuff like that. You do see a lot more of them, but in our Punjabi community, especially with us just being like such a like small religion as well, there's just not a lot of mixed marriages as well. And people are like our parents, our cultures, like the older generation, they still have this like preconception of like, you should only be marrying a Punjabi and like, you should, this is what it is. And it's not their fault because this is kind of like the norm.
That's all they know, right?
And that's all you see when you're back home, right?
Yeah.
You only know this, black or white, right?
Yeah. But it's our generation that's now moving into
touch the gray areas.
Yeah, we are slowly moving into that area of mixed marriages. And now I do predict in the next 10 years that there's going to be a lot more mixed marriages.
Like our kids.
100%.
I don't think I'm going to put the same standards on my kids that, hey, you can only marry this. No, I'm going to let them do what makes them happy. And I think we as our generation understands that.
Yeah.
It's what makes you happy at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think that's what it, but it was. And you know what? I think that's what it came down to our parents as well. And they realized, you know what, this is what makes our kids happy. And you know what? Our kids are happy and we're good. Right. And literally it did come down to all these things that, again, it did take a lot of time, not only for the parents, for everybody, right? Like even extended family, for example, it wasn't easy, for anybody because and I was the first one on top of it. Right. So
Karen has a lot of pressure underneath her because she's like the first cousin of like 20 cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even you yourself.
Imagine the trickle
even the fake cousin.
But even like Karen still was the first person, right? So it's like a little trickle down effect of how the uncles and aunties saw this, right? They were like,
well, our kids do this.
Doing this.
Exactly.
Will our kids do this?
And it's
do we blame her?
No, but kudos to you because that's a lot of pressure on you, especially in a South Asian family. And you know what? The fact that you fought for your love and you did what you needed to do is huge.
No, honestly, and my like personal advice for that is just make sure that this person is the right person that you're willing to fight for. And when I say that, like, make sure you know them. Like, make sure you know them. Make sure you know the family. Like, and that was a blessing for me because, like, I was able to get to know everybody, right? I mean, obviously it's different compared to living with people, right? Like, when you live with them, you know them a little bit better. Like, even with Raf, like, once I lived with him, I knew like his little habits and stuff that I didn't know about before, right? And we travel a lot, right? Like we've traveled so much, and you would think by now I would know, but there were certain things that I didn't. But you know what? Vice versa. Same thing with him. He didn't know certain things about me that he's learning now. And you know what? Like, truth be told, like, I say it to him every day now. Like, I feel like, and I'm not just saying this just because I'm on this podcast or whatever, but I actually genuinely mean this, that I appreciate him more now that I am actually living with him. Aww. And like, I see these things where I'm like, oh shit, I didn't see them before. Like, and I'm,
and you would think after knowing each other for so long that you would.
So it's weird. And it's interesting because like, I have some people that are like, oh, you guys are still in your honeymoon phase. And I'm just like, okay, but let me enjoy this, please. Like,
yeah. And you should absolutely enjoy it. You're still going through your first year of marriage, and I feel like that lasts for a while though. Not even the first year. I think it should go on for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Like,
and Raph is an amazing real estate assistant to Karen. So
it's a bonus.
Awesome, you know? It's a bonus. You got like her assistant there.
You did.
With you, Karen, so you guys have moved into a joint family. So you live with your husband's parents, which, you know, some people do in this generation. Some people don't. It's kind of a personal preference.
Absolutely.
But you kind of moved in. And I remember asking you, like, I think it was like 2 weeks in or something. And I'm like, how's it going? Like, and like, you know,
Robin's like, do I want to do this? Tell me.
Yeah, I was like, you know, no, but in general, right? Because it's like, we're kind of so used to our ways and stuff like that. And then you move into a new house with new parents. So I was just like, you know, generally like, how is it? And she's like, honestly, it's good.
Yeah. I remember you saying that too.
I feel like that was like maybe unexpected. Like, I feel like some people expected me to say something else. And I was just like, no, I'm just chilling. Like, it's good.
But like, do you think it was easier for you because you knew his parents from beforehand? Do you think it was easier just because of personalities? Because we see a lot of people get married and then move in with the in-laws and it doesn't work out. We've seen it, like, I've heard stories, horror stories.
Did you and your mother-in-law set ground rules? Or did you guys meet halfway? Or do you find you just had a common understanding?
Honestly, I think maybe it's the last part. Like, we have a common understanding because like she's pretty chill. Like, and I really appreciate that about her because I remember like it was something so silly. Like, I remember when we first moved in, and me moving in, like, I used to never go through things like before getting married, right? Because I'm like, no, this is their place, like this is their stuff, like I don't want to touch it, like I'm just gonna let Raph grab whatever, right? Because I don't want to invade people's privacy or like their stuff, right? Because I don't know how people can be. But I mean, like here, I remember, I don't know when it was, but like I remember,
was it the pantry?
It was the pantry. And like literally, I remember the pantry, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't find anything. Like, this is not organized. Like, what do I do?" And I remember Rapha's mom just like looked at me and she's like, "Karen, I trust you. Do whatever." Aww. Right? And I was like, "Really?" And she was like, "Yeah, no." She's like, "I trust you. I know you're gonna make the house look good. I know you're gonna do things. Your intentions are good. Aww. Do it." And I was like, okay. So like one day me and Raph just like started working on the pantry, and like since then the pantry's been clean, it's been good, and everyone's happy, right? And it's
Raph was so proud of me. He was like, come look at the pantry.
Honestly. And it's so funny because like even like for example our bedroom and like our man cave, like we've painted it and like whatnot, right? And like slowly we have different projects that we're gonna work on. And the thing is, like the thing that I appreciate is that like, you know how like some mother-in-laws and some parents, like they're just like, no, this is our house and like don't do anything or like whatever. Like I appreciate the fact that they trust us and they're like, you know what, we trust that you guys are going to do something good with it and you're going to do something that's nice, so do whatever. Like we trust you guys do whatever. And I honestly genuinely appreciate that. I don't know if that's because I've known them for a while or if it's because I think it's probably because that's how she is. Like, I know she likes new things and all this stuff. So like, she likes to change and whatnot. But like, even like small things, I remember the other day, what was it? I think I was doing some work and then she was like, Karen, I need some help with this. And I was like, okay. So I like went to look at what it was. And in my head, I was like, oh shoot, I have to do this work thing. And I was about to leave and I was like, you know what, let me just finish this. So I like finished up whatever she wanted me to do. And then I left. And then I think like 2 weeks later, and she's like, Kiran, you know what? I appreciate the fact that you did that and you do that. She's like, I like that about you. And I was like, whoa, what? Like
Kiran is a good
like,
mother-in-law.
honestly,
She
no,
is.
I can be, because the thing is like, I put myself in other people's shoes a lot, because I'm like, I want to understand where they're at and what they're expecting too. But at the same time, I want them to understand me too, right? So
yeah,
it's kind of like a give and get, give and take, or whatever you want to say, right? So it's a bit of both. And like, you kind of have to come to that common ground. Because again, like for me in this case, like I'm in a different household, right? I'm also in a different cultural household too, right? So I have to understand certain things in a different way. I can't just understand it in the way that I've been programmed, right? So it comes down to understanding and perspective. And if you're willing to give it that, it'll help and it'll work.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to, then I don't know. Good luck.
I know.
No, that's so true.
I think it is a two-way game. One is like you understanding that, hey, listen, I can't treat this as the same house I grew up in my whole life, because that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
And two, you know, if it is a different culture, then I need to maybe understand some of the norms with that culture. Maybe they do things differently, and what is it that they do differently?
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like you were fortunate in the sense of, you did get to know your mother-in-law before. So, you know, you weren't like a complete stranger walking into the house kind of thing. But like, there are some people there that get stuck with the, what is it called, the bitchy mother-in-law.
But
you know?
I feel like, okay, so you know what, I hear this a lot lately, and my thing is this, and that's where I give Kiran kudos. She got to know her future in-laws, right? You know, she went, spent the time, and would you would appear, you know. Then you have people there who don't do it, and then they're like, I should have never married into this family. And the mother-in-law doesn't reciprocate it, and they don't either. And so my advice to all of you out there is that maybe you should give your mother-in-law a chance, or father-in-law. Go over, let them get to know you, show your
and
face
learn
a
about
little
them
more.
too.
Because people feel like, and that's my biggest thing. I've heard this so much recently, that people are like, oh, you know, like I only went there 2 times before I got married. And me and my husband,
and then you want to go live there, and
and
then
we're
think
like,
they understand you.
and then you wonder why you break out into such a huge fight, and now you're separated amongst yourselves. But it's because you didn't meet someone halfway to get to know them, you know. And that's the part that frustrates me the most, especially with our South Asian community.
Yeah, we do. It is more common in our community
because the stigma is there. That every mother-in-law is going to love her son more, and she's not going to care.
Which is not the case, right? We've seen it with like my sister Kiran as well. Like my parents treat her like a daughter, and I think it goes both ways. Like if you're going to treat your in-laws as like in-laws, then you're not going to get that parent relationship.
100%,
if you treat them like parents, you will get that parent type of relationship.
And I agree. I 100% agree with that. And that's the one thing that, even same with me, like coming into here, I was like, okay, I know these are not technically my blood parents, but the thing is, I'm going to treat them the same way as I would treat my parents. And it's interesting because, again, COVID, so with the vaccines, I'm personally nervous about the vaccine because I don't know much about it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So with my parents, I personally refused to book any appointments for them, right? I was like, heck no, I'm not doing it because I don't even feel comfortable. So if I don't feel comfortable, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it for you, right? As bad as that sounds. But then same thing with my mother-in-law. She asked me the other day, she's like, Kiran, can you book my appointment? I'm like, I'm so sorry, I can't do it. I'm like, I'm treating you the same way as my parents. I don't care. And I went to Raf and I'm like, hey, this is what happened. I'm just letting you know. And he's like, you know what? No, I appreciate it that you let me know. But I also appreciate that you're treating like my mom as your mom as well. Because the thing is like, and that's how I feel. Like, and the same thing you guys said, like, if you treat them as your parents, you're not going to see any difference. Like, yes, there's going to be difference in personality and stuff like that, but you got to, again, come down to that common understanding. And the only way it can happen is, actually, here's an example. Can you clap with 2 hands?
No.
You need 2 hands to clap.
I feel like we were going to try.
I was like, should we try?
We're going to try to clap.
We thought about it.
We both thought. I don't know. I just felt like you were thinking about the same thing.
But no, Kiran, I love that. You're absolutely right.
Amazing. Honestly, you have kind of like set the I tell Kiran this.
I'm sorry.
Like, you're setting your standards really high. make sure you're able to live up to them. And the reason I say this is because you want to be who you are, right? You don't want to. And I have actually had a friend who like got married and then was not being who she was. She was like trying to be someone else. Like she was trying to be, no, you don't know her. She was like looking at me and she's like, who that? But you know, she was trying to live up to these like daughter-in-law expectations, and in my head I was just thinking, I'm like, this is gonna backfire because when you want to go out, when you want to, you know, do things for yourself, or you need time to yourself, like now this is gonna backfire on you, right? Like you can't pretend to be somebody your whole life. You can only pretend for so long.
It's true.
Either your personality is going to change, or your real self is going to show through it all, right?
I think for Karen, I think she's still new. Yeah. And she's still finding her voice in her relationship.
She's great.
Yeah. So you take your time, but don't overexert yourself.
Man, I already work enough,
you got
so.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, I think it's great when you marry a partner that can support you and help you, because it's not just on us as the females who are marrying into a family. It's also on the man that you marry to stand up for you.
I do agree.
And he's got to take his part. He's got to help out. And I think that's important. So girlfriends out there, marry the right guy. That will help you.
Yeah. Well, the other day, Raph was like, he was so sweet, to be honest. It was like we were all drunk, but he was so sweet. He was like, I got you, Karen. Like, if you're not there, like, don't feel stressed. Because Karen's very, like, you know,
I need help. I'm like, the mother.
She's an empathetic.
Yeah.
She's an empath.
She's got guilt in the back.
She you know, is a good person and she wants to be there and she wants to help. But he was like, don't worry. If you're not there, like, don't forget I'm still here and I got you when you're not there, kind of thing, sweet. Right? And that's what it is. You need someone to like back you up and be like, when I'm not there, like you're going to have my back kind of thing.
Exactly.
And that's amazing.
And the thing is, it comes down to having that understanding, right? So as long as you have two people that are willing to compromise, right? And in this case, like in the example that you gave, Raf saying that just shows that like, he's willing to do it. And again, girls in the future, when you're getting married, consider these things. Because again, it gets hard, honestly. If one person is doing everything, it gets hard. And I mean, look at some of our moms and dads. Sorry to say it like that. I know some moms out there are like, hey, I can't do this. I got to go to work and cook and clean. And then the husband's sitting there doing nothing. Right. So, I mean, I'm not saying like force people to do anything, but just have that understanding. Mutual understanding is what's key. In any relationship.
Yeah, 100%. It's the future, ladies. It's the future. Like, women are not here going to work, having babies, doing all the work in the world anymore. Like, and I feel like, and I hate to say this, I might get like slapped for this, like by somebody, but like I have this like preconception of like some Indian men of that whole like what Kiran said, that, you know, the woman is doing this, and the guy is like sitting at the dinner table, waiting. Like, can I have my dinner, please? I'm just like, why can't you get up and do this yourself?
Or be the daughter-in-law that makes that change.
True.
Speak vocally for that mother. You know, I know I've done that, and I know that I've given my mother-in-law strength and encouragement to like stand up and be like, no, I'm going to support my daughter-in-law and what she's saying, and I agree with her. So be that other advocate for
100%,
her. If she's alone, don't let her be alone. Right?
We've talked about this before, that sometimes people need a push, right? Like even with our parents, we've talked a lot about it, that, you know, it's not their fault. It's how they were raised, the norms that they grew up with. But sometimes we need to be that push for them to look into things in a different light and look into a different perspective, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I agree.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Karen. So before we kind of end this off, we do have a couple of questions that we want to kind of ask you.
So, Karen, what's kind of your like aha moment? What makes you grind every day and wake up and hustle?
Okay. Money? Is it money?
You say it's money. It your hubby? Is it your hubby? Because if he pushes
honestly, and I guess you guys could actually vouch for this, I gotta say, Rafi has actually, since we've been married, helped a lot. He's been pushing me a lot. And I mean, I didn't mention this earlier, but I also do manage the office. So my time is like pretty much spent everywhere, anything related to real estate, including managing the office. And I appreciate the fact that like he helps, right? Like he right now, like for example, being married and working here, I mean, wow, what did I say? Working here.
Doing podcast?
No, but I mean, like, being married now, obviously there's more responsibilities and stuff like that. And that's also a motivation too, right? Motivation, obviously money is a motivation. Obviously everybody wants that. Everybody wants the riches. And honestly, for me, it's also to travel. So like, how am I going to travel if I don't have money, right? And not only money, it's also to help others, simply said. Because I enjoy helping others and going off to see properties. As silly as that sounds, like, oh, okay, you're just going to help these people to buy a house. No, I'm going to help them buy a house that they like, that they're going to live in forever. And I want them to make a right decision for themselves, right? So for me, that's helping them, even though I'm going to get some income out of it, but it's still helping them. And I like it. I don't know, I enjoy that. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. Karen, what's the best advice anyone has ever given you?
Oh boy, I don't know. I can't. That's something
that's stuck with you.
Anything your parents might have said,
this is something silly. Don't assume stuff, because
that's not silly. That's actually a really bold statement.
Oh yeah,
and the reason why I use that one is, so someone told me this one time. They were saying, don't assume thing, because they were like, oh, do you know what? Can you? Do you know what the meaning of assume is or something? But if you break down assume, it says, assume means you make an ass out of you and me.
Oh my gosh, I've heard that. Yeah.
That's and so honestly, it's true, because the thing is, assuming is just, it causes issues for no reason, right? And just no drama, please.
Yeah. 100.
Just like get the full story before you can make any assumptions. I think a lot of people jump to conclusions. I mean, the one thing that has stuck with me all my life, and I always say this to everybody, all my friends who have crazy moments as well, is, I said this to you, Karen, the other day, actually. I actually said this to Karen the other day. I said, hey, 99% of the problems are created in your head. Right? Yeah, it's true, because listen, because we're assuming, right? We're assuming this is that, blah, 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 without facts, without knowing what's up. We're just literally creating problems in our head.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Very true.
100%.
Yeah. Karen tried to have a problem in her head the other day, and I was like, no. I was like, you're being crazy. Like,
stop thinking that. No, and it's true. And the thing is, that's when it comes down to reality, right? Like, you got to remember these things, and sometimes you forget about them, right? So you kind of have to get a reminder, talk to a friend, talk to somebody or anybody, right? And sometimes you just got to get that knock on the head and be like, hey, remember.
Remember, don't assume, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Karen, for being on our podcast today.
For having me.
Yeah. It was so great to have you talk about realtor
and your married life.
Yeah. It's like, did I say
you said
that?
realtor, it's real estate.
And real estate.
And it's late. That's why you're getting tired.
Being out there and helping people find their dream homes to make their dream families.
Thanks. Anytime.
Thank you. We'll leave Karen's Instagram link below to her realtor page. And if you guys have any questions or any real estate questions that Karen might be able to help you with, shoot us an email at ramanandalysha.com, and we'll be more than happy to share Karen's link. But, stranger danger, we won't just send out her personal email right away. And if you're not following us on social media already, follow us at Level Up with Raman and Alysha. And oh my God, this concludes to our Girl Boss Month.
It was a great April with all our amazing women.
Yeah.
So we had a great time doing this. And so thank you so much for tuning in. and hearing what we get to hear and live beside. And, just a reminder of like, you can build a great friendship circle with strong women. And remember, women come from the inside.
Yeah.
You don't need to have this amazing occupation or have your own entrepreneur or your own business. We're all boss women. So remind your besties and your girlfriends out there and your moms and your sisters and your daughters that you're all girl bosses.
Yeah. There's more than one way to be a girl boss. And I think this April podcast really showed us the different ways that all the women that we've had on this podcast have been boss women in different ways. Like none of them have had the same story. They have all had the different stories, different experiences, and
different journeys.
Thank you so much for being on our podcast.
Yeah, we hope to have you back soon.
Yay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.